little cartoony, sounding like, you know,
It
Tom and
is.
Jerry or
It's
something.
it is. It's supposed to be funny. I can use something else if we need to.
No, it's fine. It's just,
I
for me,
thought it
it's all
was
about
just kind
branding, so
of
keep it consistent.
well, I was trying to make it light and
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was just wasn't expecting it.
oh
Are we live?
yeah, we've been live for 38 seconds.
Ooh, 38 seconds of idle chit chat. So sorry. For those of you that are online right now watching us, sorry we're late. I had some technical difficulties. My computer decided it did not want to go online. Teams was broken. All kinds of things were broken. So I rebooted, which means got to wait 3 or 4 minutes, even though Windows is available. It's pretty much dead to me for a good minute and a half. So after this stream, it's time for a repave, which is always fun. So let's see where we left off yesterday. So yesterday we introduced Squad to our team
Yep.
and got it started, and then sent Ripley, our architect, off on a little discovery mission to look at our code base and see if there was anything she noticed that we should fix or improve on. Today we'll kind of look at those findings. We'll create Git issues for them, then we'll have her look at our other issues on there and kind of prioritize them, and then, you know, if there's time, maybe have a team or have some of the team work on it. So let me share my screen and we can get started. Share screen. I'm going to share that screen. So we should now be seeing my terminal. I think that font is big. Let me increase it a little bit more. It's hard to tell because it's right now I'm at a very large resolution on the, or very small resolution on my screen, so it looks quite weird. But let's try that and see if it works. It looks decent on there. Okay, so I'm
Looks
already in
okay.
our
Yep.
directory. So we can start with Copilot. And you see there's a couple of things. We didn't talk about this yesterday. Copilot has the ability to resume a session. So when you tell it to quit, it'll give you a GUID, that's that long 0E9 blah blah blah, after, to resume a session if you want. It kind of remembers everything or loads all the context from there. You can do that if you want. I tend to do that if I stop in the middle of something and I need to go, or, you know, I don't have any more time to sit around and wait. But we're going to start from scratch. We told Ripley to log her notes so that we can kick it off in the morning when we streamed again. So let's go here. Remember, I did the YOLO, which means I'm allowing all the permissions. That's up to you whether or not you want to do it. I recommend in the very beginning you don't, just so you can see what's happening, what they're doing. Oh, this is really big.
I think it looks okay. I think it looks good.
Yeah, there's just only whatever 6 or 7 lines of text available
I
now.
know.
I can turn off some of this stuff here too if we need to. So let's see. Let's do team. I am ready to resume our findings. Ripley, what did you find that we need to do? Now this is going to take a second or so because GitHub Copilot has had to kind of reload our team. So it's going to go through the squad, look at the team, look at the roster.
Oh, it seems we may have lost Joe. Let's see if he comes back. Joe's having some technical difficulties at this time. Yeah. So just bear with us. Uh, I will entertain you guys. Squads is pretty cool. I've started using it over the last couple days, and I started using it with some web component kit that I'm creating called HTMX Razor, uh, and so we'll do that. Yeah, I don't. Let me hit Joe up on Teams, see if he's there. If not, we may have to take the day for a hiatus and resume tomorrow. Looks like the Gremlins have caught up. The demo gods got us. So, but so the one thing that Joe and I do want to do with this streaming kind of channel is to know what you would like us to stream. We can do Aspire. We could probably do almost anything around .NET. So if you have anything that you want us to look at in .NET, any cutting edge, maybe Claude. I'm actually creating a new training course for Claude and Claude Code and co-working and stuff like that, and then the Anthropic AI API integration in .NET. So if you want that, I could stream that coming up when we're done with squads and stuff. So, but yeah, let us see where Joe Joe went off in the ether, and I haven't heard from him. So yeah, we'll wait for a few more minutes. Doesn't look like there's anyone watching, so I'll just keep talking a little bit, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So, but yeah, hope everyone is having a good day. Can't complain on my side, except trying to find a job. So that's about it. Uh, and yeah, yeah. So I'll. I hate just talking for just to talk, but we'll sit around waiting for Joe. If Joe's out there, uh, come back, Joe. Come back to us, Joe. We miss you. We miss you, Joe. Love you long time, Joe. So, okay, well, I'll give him a couple more minutes, then we are going to drop, and we'll just pick up tomorrow. So, yeah. Up.
How
He
much
might
was
be
that?
here.
Was in just the void.
What was that?
I don't know. I turned around and I was sitting there typing and I asked you a question and you didn't respond. And I looked and Riverside said, "You're no longer in the studio." So how long was I out for?
Oh, you were out for 3, 4 minutes.
Oh, wow. I'm
Yeah,
sorry about that.
no
Let's
problem.
check again. I'm going to share my screen. I guess I desperately need to
Yeah.
pin this. You paid this machine. So I'm not sure where I left off, so I'll kind of kick it off again. As you see,
You were creating your first prompt to tell Ripley and the team that you wanted to uh, do something, and then that's when you dropped off.
okay. So I started off, we got the prompt here. They say, hey, find my team. It eventually found it. Like I was saying, It's just like your kids. They come say, Mom, Dad, I can't find blah, blah, blah. And that's what happened originally. GitHub Copilot couldn't find the team, and I told look again, and it found the team. Then I asked it, Ripley, share your findings. So Ripley shared four findings. One is make a team decision on exception handling, choose whether or not we want to use result of T or rethrow a context. Once we figure that out, we have the other things. So yesterday, or when she was done, she updated the README to complete. I'm not sure CFRF was rolled out as a false positive, and the SQL script password concern, which Judge Dev only. We used to have the SQL password in there for dev so that we can use it. Plus, it was also a script to get engineers to be able to get started with the project. So we had kind of all shared a SA login. Now that we have Aspire, we don't really need that anymore. So we'll probably eventually just remove those from there. So it says the big takeaway is to decide exception handling first, then do cross-site scripting. So I'm going to ask Ripley what her opinion is. Do you have one, Woody, whether you prefer to use result of T or rethrow with context?
I usually like to throw it all the way up, especially if we're gonna do logging. But yeah, but I'm open to whatever Ripley. I like Ripley, so I'll see what she has to say. So
I'm curious. I mean, there's pros and cons to both, so. Come on, Ripley, think. Seems there needs to be a check for multiple agent tasks before ceremonies, but single agent, blah, blah, blah. Oh,
so
that
we're
was random text.
working
Had
on.
nothing to do with what we asked. But she's weighing the trade-offs to give us a clear recommendation. Well, I should probably mention that if you want to tag, you really shouldn't be doing it the way I'm doing, which is just a name. You want to add an at in front of their name to be more precise that you're directing it towards that agent. Recommending exception pattern. Apparently there was a cutoff. It's probably looking at ours and looking at the skills to see if we have any declared ones, and then it's going to look at what we have in the code base to see what we should do. As you're tapping away furiously on your mechanical
I'm
keyboard.
sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to get an email out that I promised someone I would get. I'm gonna go mute for a few minutes.
Okay, while she's looking at that, fortunately, unfortunately, there is a lot of this where it's type up a prompt and wait, especially in the earlier stages until you start building up, I don't want to say rapport with the team, but until the team starts really understanding the project. Right now, we're basically working on a blank slate. There are some basic rules in there, like we looked at yesterday for each team member, but nothing around any patterns or anything. So as it learns the code base and as it learns you, or in this case, me, when I'm giving it and some of the commands, it'll start writing out decisions. Like, I don't remember if I mentioned this yesterday or not, but on my other project, JGJNet Broadcasting, I created a couple of different rules as I was watching what it was doing. And one of the rules was everyone has to create an issue for any changes. Each issue needs a PR with it. PRs need to be reviewed by the architect before. The architect reviews it and finds issues, then someone else needs to work on it. An engineer can't work on a bug that they created or a concern that was found by the architect. Let's see where where Ripley is. Oh, he's writing out the decision. As you see here, I mentioned yesterday, there's a decision slash inbox. Ripley is going to write to that location, and then the scribe will take everything in the inbox and kind of write it out more formally inside all the different charters and the team decision. So if we look here, as we mentioned yesterday, yeah, that's not going to work. We're going to see that there is a decisions branch that has a lot of the decisions. We kind of walked through this yesterday, and now it started working out a exception handling that needs to be handled. So at some point, once we finish this conversation, Ripley and the scribe are going to overwrite this. Like I said yesterday, or in the previous video, here we have 35 catch exception blocks with inconsistent handling. That's because we had 3 different engineers or the Claude code writing it differently, and then Woody came in there, and then I came in there and I used some agents. Woody used some agents. We had 2 other engineers using their own coding style and stuff. So it's a big mess. Yes. So one of the things that's helpful about this is we set up these standards, and then we create issues to kind of solve all that tech debt. So let's see, Ripley's recommendation is clear. Use results. I'm having scribe merge the log decision. Ripley recommends results. I thought Ripley was a girl yesterday. His reasoning was that the code base is real. Failure mode is lost error information across layers, not just bad rethrows. Result T gives web managers and data layer a consistent way to carry success using context while reserving exceptions for truly exception failure. He also called out the project as already has a good presiding identity. Result is effective, the same pattern. It's clean error handling model already in use. The only suggestion is to roll it out incrementally and start with small vertical slices. Prove the pattern, then expand the slices by slice. Okay. So I like to be nice. I'm going to say thank you at Ripley. Let's make this. And you can use markup syntax to kind of talk about or demonstrate things like keywords and stuff. As you see, we have like result T and identity result highlighted differently. Let's make this result T the decision for the team. Can we create issues in GitHub to implement this across the code base? In addition, add issues for your other findings. So the decision was merged. They're looking to see what the recommended way to go so that Dallas and Vasquez can start implementing it. You see there was a team direction that was caught at 28 minutes after the hour, which is right now, by me. It's telling us to adopt this. So the scribe is going to write that out. Because I mentioned looking at the issues, it's going to start looking into that and creating it. But one of the things I always like to show is I always look at my prompt that I typed in this case, and then looking at the output. So this grayer area, or lighter than the pure white, is what GitHub is, or GitHub Copilot is interpreting it as. So here it says, I'm thinking if Ripley could translate accepted definitions and findings into issues, titles, and descriptions. Then the coordinator can create GitHub issues using the tool. However, I don't see a direct issue tool, only options for reading and listing issues. I might need to use PowerShell, blah, blah, blah. So since this is the first time we're actually having it create issues, it needs to figure out how to do that. So most likely it's going to use PowerShell and use the GitHub API to generate issues. So let's see, anything else pop in? Nope, it did it. Ripley changed his model to use Claude Opus 4.6 for architecture. And
That's
drafting.
actually kind of cool that it can change mid-flight or mid-session to different models.
Yes, which is awesome. But you know, the general model, as you see here, I'm still using GPT 5.4. Each individual agent can have their own, and I guess GitHub Copilot kind of knows which models are better for which. Like we were reading yesterday in the documentation, you can actually assign different
Yeah.
agents, different models. So I guess Opus 4.6 has been known better for architecture. I have to find one that's better for API or web interface, because my current agents haven't been able to solve a bug for 3 days now. Okay, so we'll see if you see that there's created security and tech debt labels. So the scribe just created 2 labels, or actually, yeah, 2 labels it looked like so far. Security with a color of E11D48 and one called tech debt. You can create as many labels as you want and then tell it what to do. So later on, we'll probably create a label for sprints and have it know to use those. Well, that's going. Let's take a look at GitHub and see what it's starting to look like. So here you see, let's zoom in a little bit. Here you see we're at 100 or 150%. Here we're at 16 open issues and closed 194. When I hit refresh, it's going to probably go up a little bit, assuming it created the issues. Let's see if it created the issues yet. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to. So if I hit refresh, issues started going up. 4 of them got created so far with enhancements. Revert T, convert mentoring, vertical slice, convert user. Now these are branches of the code. We have, I guess, 3 or 4 vertical slices. So let's go take a look at the code base to see what it's doing. It hasn't touched any code yet. It's starting to create the issues so that we can work on it. So it's talking, if you look at our app, we basically follow the 3-tiered model, so to speak. We have data stores. Each data store is responsible for the saving, searching, adding, removing, deleting, the basic CRUD methods for an application. And we have them broken down by, I don't want to say expertise, but by domain. It's hard to use the right word because we actually use expertise and domain in this project. We have an expertise data store, a mentoring data store, a sector data store, a social media, and a user. And all these have different functions. As you'll see, if we start looking at it, we have, each one could have 15 to 35 different calls or different APIs, and these are all controlled in the domain. We have interfaces for each because we use dependency injection in here. We see the basic data store, which all the other data stores inherit from have a save, get all, and delete. So if we look at our expertise data store, it has in addition another 15 or 20 methods. And you'll see the same thing for the mentoring data store. They all have specifics outside of the basic save, update, delete. You'll see here we have a get shared expertise, does mentorship requests exist, etc. So it's very specific on it. But these data stores are not called directly. They're all called through a manager. So if we look at the expertise manager, you'll see that in a lot of cases, it just calls the data store directly. And I say in a lot of cases, cannot all. Like you see here on the create expertise, we do a little bit extra. We, after it's saved, we log if there's any failures, but it gets more so popular as you start going down, like here, soft deletes. We don't actually physically delete anything. We call soft deletes. Are you not seeing my screen?
Yeah, I see your screen.
What do you see right now?
You moving the cursor. I oh
Yeah,
now I
just
don't
stopped it.
see.
It was sharing just the window, and I wanted to share the screen. I'm talking about the actual code base
Oh, the
here.
code base. Okay. Okay. Now I see. Yep. I was still seeing the
The
CLI.
terminal. Yeah, I looked
Yeah,
down
the
and it was
terminal.
just sharing the window. Okay, so here you see, like I was mentioning for soft delete, we have a bunch of extra code. But as we start getting into some more of the complicated ones, like the user manager, you'll see the user manager does a lot more. Like here it says, okay, create the user. If the user exists, we spin off another task to go and create open graph profile for them. So each of the managers has what I like to call the business layer. In some cases, some people call it services, some call it business layers, some call it managers. I like the word manager in here because it's kind of managing the data. And I don't like using the word service because a lot of times service is
Mm-hmm.
intermingled with like
Yes.
web services and stuff. Because
Yeah.
if we actually look here, we'll see we have services that go out and do something different, like this open graph service and email templates. So the website will actually, the web will call the managers and then for the work. So if we look at, let's see, if we look at, let's go to the speaker service. So we go and look at the speaker service, the index model, it's going to, we're going to pass in the expertise manager, sector manager, and a couple others, and we craft what's going to be displayed based on that. So we can do a get call. We call a sector manager, say, give me all the sectors because we have the ability to choose what sectors, give me the activities, give me everything. And then this is going to go out and actually call the data. So the managers are going to call whatever data. So if we looked at, let's say, the expertise manager, and let me put on the presentation so you can see if I'm typing in keyboard shortcuts. So it's on. You see, we have, create expertise, get all those, and these are going to be from one of the data. So here it's going to call the data store get popular expertise. So we go here, go to navigation mode, go to implementation. We see that this is how we get the most popular expertises from here. Cool. So that's a little of it. My machine does ding, which means Copilot has a prompt for me. So we look here where we last left it. It was thinking, it looked at the charter. Ripley created a backlog of what it looks like, what,
Wow.
10 items of
Very
stuff to
thorough.
do. Yes. Yes, it is. Sometimes too thorough. You can kind of tweak it if you want all lumped together or all like individual. I tend to keep them individual so it's easier to watch unless there's something kind of big. So if we look at the last thing, state now, result is active team decision, the implementation backlog is recorded, and the work can start on these, depending whether or not I want to lead with security fixes or the exception handling. So let's go take a look at what was written at GitHub. So we went from 16, I did a refresh at 1.7 minutes ago, and there were 4 of them. And that's where we started getting into discussion about the different vertical layers. If I hit refresh now, we are going to get 26. So it took the issues from yesterday / this morning and then put together a plan. It added labels to them. So here's a bug, security on the web project. Here's an enhancement. If we go and look at them, let's say what this convert web service is. Actually, let's do one of the vertical slices. So let's look at the user slice. So you see here, it gives you kind of what the problem is in scope. It does a really decent job at requirements, and it uses the markdown syntax. So you can see the class user data stores, the largest concentration of code blocks, 17. User manager adds 1 more, blah, blah, blah. Then it gives the scope so that whoever gets assigned to this can know what to do. So it says replace send to returns boolean and null with result of t, update the data stores to reflect that decision, and then give meaningful messages. Update the manager layer with something similar, and then each spot where it found the usage, in this case of user manager, update those. Gives what we should do for code coverage and then acceptance criteria. And you'll see if there's dependencies on others. In this case, there was a dependency on us figuring out the proof of concept. So it's going to recommend 686 first, and then it started tagging other items. So it did what a quote unquote real engineer would do on a project. So the first thing I like to do after this is to ask to assign the squad members to all the issues. Can you assign the appropriate squad members to the issues we have? Now it's going to look at the team charter and figure out what to do and what users should be on there. Most likely it's, if we look at our charter, which I put here,
And we have what, two developers?
yeah, we have one that specializes in front end and one that specializes in back end. Bishop
Okay.
and Dallas, and then our tester. So all 3 of these are going to have to work. Most of the work is going to be split up between these 3.
Okay.
Really. It generally will look at the back end first, do that. Vasquez will start creating the new unit tests based on the new signatures, and then the front end dev will kind of work on it afterwards. So sometimes it's a little waterfallish and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it kind of does it, all together and then reconciles.
So if you have like four issues or 4 tasks that are all back end, will they ever assign it to the front end developer, or
Generally not unless you tell it to. You can
Okay.
say, in our particular case, like, see here, issue 385 was assigned to Dallas.
yeah?
It's the foundational work. I can say, you can go through and do it one of 2 ways. If you're going to use GitHub, like in our case, in labels, you can go and change that label. So I think it was 385, got assigned. No, not yet. Or at least it
So,
hasn't
so
kicked in. I
I
can
have a
go and
question.
change it, or I can tell Riley to
Yeah,
assign someone else to it
to it.
via
Okay.
prompt, and then it will assign someone else and do it. But generally, you don't want to do that
Okay.
because all the agents are very spec to
Special.
their
Yeah.
task.
Yeah. They have certain skills that are applied to their type.
Yes. Even though
So,
they're all generic
develop.
co-pilot agencies,
Yeah.
we give them a finer scoped
We give
things.
them constraints that they
Yep.
have to behave within. So,
Yep. And if
so
you give
here
them
is a
another one,
question.
if you give it to someone else, they might not know what to do.
Yeah. So I have a question. So unless you like for all this work that we're doing is kind of like enhancements and refinements and bugs and refactoring, would you, if you had to do this over again and go back to the beginning, would you just have two full like uh, full stack developers that can do back end and front end so that the work could be doled out evenly? Or would you stay, because with all this work that we're doing, we don't really know what is going to be front end and what's going to be back end. So I'm just,
We'll
while
learn
this is
after.
all going on, I'm asking questions so we can have a discussion about this.
So we'll learn what's happening in a little bit. So once the scribe is done or Ripley is done, oh, here it is. It's finished the routing. I'm logging the ownership map in squad memory now. So we'll know what's being done.
Okay.
And we'll know who's going to get assigned to what. So we'll be able to figure
Yeah,
out
so
here it is right now.
we can see that Dallas gets a majority of these. Bishop gets a couple, and then Vasquez gets one.
Yes.
S-
And that's because a lot of this work is the back
Is
end. If you
back
start
end.
implementing
Exactly.
features like, hey, we want to do single sign on, let's say,
Yeah.
that work's going to get spread out because this is necessarily cleanup. Once we
Yeah.
start going and maybe building out a separate API, that work's going to be split out across the board.
Yeah, and
And there's
that's
nothing saying that quote
okay.
unquote Dallas can't work on 385,
Sure.
386, 387 at the same time. You can spin up multiple instances of one of the agents. The only thing you really need to keep in mind, or two things you need to keep in mind. One
Dependencies,
is,
right?
what was that?
Dependencies, right?
Well, yeah, but that's case whether you're doing software development with human beings or with AI. Sometimes you do it, but if you have a clean spec, sometimes you can spin them off. Like in this case for 385, 386, and 387, those are all doing the same work, just in three different classes. So one's going to be probably well, let's look at it instead of guessing. One's in the where do we go? One's in the expertise, one's in the user, one's in the mentoring. They're the same exact work, just in different classes. So they can be done sequentially or sorry, asynchronously. The challenge you run into, even in that case, is not necessarily spinning up the instances, is you have to be cognizant of the cost. Because now you're running three instances of it using those tokens, etc. If you notice in the remaining recs, I started this day out with like 80 and I already used, 2%. If I exit this, I'll get a list of how many tokens I use. But the thing that's been really getting to me, and you alluded to it a little bit yesterday, is kind of how Claude Code or Anthropic, one of them, I don't remember what you said, has kind of off peak hours. Running into this, if you're doing too many things at one time, you could get rate limited by GitHub itself. The Copilot, it has a certain number of calls you can make, a minute, an hour, and then within like a 3 hour span. While I was doing work on my previous project or the other project, I actually hit that rate limit quite a few times because I didn't realize that there was one, and I was getting errors and errors and errors saying, "Hey, I can't communicate. Hey, I can't communicate." I
Yeah.
submitted an issue to the squad repo, and now there's a cleaner message saying that you've been rate limited, and it tells you when you can try back again. So
Gotcha.
you want to be careful about how many you spin this up, and it also depends on the plan you have. How many
Yeah.
tokens you have,
Yeah.
what it is. I have a different plan. Being a Microsoft MVP, we have a higher token allowance and potentially a higher rate limit. I don't know if that's, if there's a higher rate limit or not, but, doing it myself, working on it all day, at times I've definitely hit that in the past.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to think of it as more of a uh, if you were coming in and knowing that you were creating a new application and there was about even front end work and back end work, then I could see having specific
You
developer or
could, you
agents with
can,
those
I mean, you
skills.
can do it as specialties like this, or you can do it, with a
Yeah.
quote unquote full stack. In theory, they're
Yeah.
all full stack engineers.
Yeah.
They're just doing what you
Yeah.
tell them. I can increase Dallas's charter to do more than just that. Like if I wanted to, if we go back here, where is it? If we go back here and look at Dallas and what his charter is, I can go and take this same thing, copy paste and add it to Bishop
Sure.
and give Bishop, the same exact. All right, it's actually this one that you'd want to do. I just prefer 'em
Sure.
this way because it's a little bit easier to identify saying, hey, Dallas, you did this, or hey, Vasquez, you missed this test, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
No, no, and I get that. It's one is I'm just trying to have a little banter while this stuff is running, and
Oh, no,
two,
I get it.
I'm
It's
just
totally
kind of
fine.
curious.
Other people might have those questions.
Yeah, so because if I'm creating a new app, sure, I want a front end developer, back end developer, and a tester.
Yeah.
But if I'm fixing or enhancing, or say I know I'm going to be doing some type of like Azure work, or like helping out with the back end primarily, I could reassign and have two back end developers, or have three full stack developers that can just work on anything that comes up. And so but I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I was
Yeah.
just seeing if there was an advantage in certain situations having a different makeup of your team, which would kind of be cool to, like, maintenance. A maintenance team probably looks quite different than a, like, maybe a starting app creation team. Would you say that?
You can do that because it will cut down, the number of people. You can
Yeah.
add and sorry, the number of agents. You can add and remove agents all throughout the project. If you look here under, I think it's team setup, tells you like here, at some point I might want to add a security specialist to the team. And then later on, you can remove people. Like you no longer, here,
Yeah.
remove the tester. You don't
Okay.
no longer need testing because everything's up in there. And then
Yeah.
you can change the lead. So you can control your team like you would with others. The you know benefit of doing it this way is you don't have to deal with HR. You can fire and hire new
Yeah.
people whenever you need to.
Yeah.
You just have
No
to
one
deal
no
with
one goes home
needs.
with hurt feelings. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I could see having a database engineer, or a database or a data architect, or someone that would primarily handle
Yep.
the database, and I could see having maybe a cloud developer being
Yep.
there for developing and working out the infrastructure for a cloud platform that
Yep. And
everything
that's,
would
we
be.
currently have that now, I believe. We
Do
have
we?
the
Oh,
we have the DevOps person who can do all that.
okay.
We
So
don't have a
Parker's
data
the
one.
DevOps. Okay.
Parker will generate, the GitHub or work with the workflows we have. We don't have a database person in here. In a lot of cases, the backend engineer will handle that, but you can add a cast member to handle just the
Hmm.
database changes, and he or she will write the scripts to add it. But in a lot of cases, they'll just be done in this case by Dallas. So
Yeah.
if we look at my sample, been recent. Let's zoom in a bit. Like my charter, I have Morpheus, who's the data engineer, because I have a lot of different data stores in this project. So I have someone dedicated to it. If we look at Morpheus, we'll see what his charter is. He's a data engineer. He handles the SQL Server, the table storage, and any framework core. He reads, and this is, what he does on it. So he's
Yeah.
responsible for all the data decisions, or he at least has the initial kick into it. So you can have that. I didn't. I just mentioned SQL. I didn't, and because we don't have like three different data stores like I do my other project, Dallas will just get that. But if we wanted to add another one, we can literally just do add a new team member who is responsible for data and data architecture. So in a minute or so, the scribe is going to look, or more so Ralph, because that's the orchestrator, will look and try to figure out. It's checking the marketplace to see if there's any particular one that's there. It's checking if there's any in the cast and current squad files so you can slot them in cleanly. And then options include, says options include Hicks, Apone, Newt, with Hicks feeling robust for data architecture, maybe Ash, even though it's a weird connotation. Oh, that is weird. I'm considering if I need to create a new skill since there's no marketplace available.
Yeah, that's
Let's see.
interesting. I wonder if as this advances, you will have like a MCP server that you can go out and get new new
So there
cast
is right
members.
now for it.
Is there? Okay.
Yes. So if we look here, I haven't played around with it much yet, but it's something I'm going to be doing. There is a marketplace here where you can pull in, so you can specify where you want it to go.
Okay.
And if there's existing agent
Oh,
repositories, it
huh.
also can go into the, what is it called? The Copilot Awesome, I think, repo of a lot of agents. Basically, what you end up downloading is a specialized version of a skill.
Yeah.
Like I can say I want a person who's an expert in AWS, and it will look through that marketplace and see if there's an AWS, skill there, and say, hey,
Right.
we have this one available to us. And you can create your own. If you start building up these skills a lot, you can create your own
Yeah.
and move them. Like I was mentioning yesterday, you have a kind of shared thing, but these are all just files.
Yeah.
Like
They're
if you
just
you mentioned.
file. They're just
They're
basically
literally
markdown
markdown.
files.
You can create your own and then just copy and paste it. The names are there because it's kind of
Yeah,
cool to do. But we see
yeah.
here, we now have Hicks added with a charter of what Hicks does. Handles database
Very
shapes,
cool.
data store boundaries, query persistence. So now whenever there's work that's going to involve database, he is going to be involved with it
That's
now.
very cool.
Okay, so everything's there. We're at time. So I am going to tell them to take a nap. And it's pretty funny this commit. Well, actually, there's a task running. What's running? So I do task, and I saw that because there's a note. There was a note here that there was a task running, but I think it was just that background logging the member edition. Let's just make sure nothing else is running. Yeah, scribes finishing writing down. So I'll wait for this thinking to be done. And then there's a command called nap, and they're done. Ooh.
What?
And what nap does is basically tell it to go to sleep, meaning, hey, stop what you're doing and then write any decisions, make sure the inbox is cleaned up, and basically end for the day. So think of it as like your shutdown command on your Mac or your Windows. Closes all the opening files, writes everything out to disk, and then
That
powers
saves
off.
the state.
Yeah, it basically
Yeah.
saves the state. So I do that now. In a minute, it's going to say, hey, I think Joe wants us to end. There's currently no running issues, so we're good. See you next time. And I'll say something like good afternoon or good night, depending on what time you're doing
I
it.
want to say same bat channel, same bat time, same bat
I wonder if it
channel.
would do that if you, I don't know if we have a Batman squad, but there is a Marvel squad, so it'll be interesting. So it says it seems the user just mentioned nap. I'm not sure if that's a typo or if they meant something like thanks or no op. So I've already provided squad context surveys. No need to bring it up. I think we should respond directly. Now has it all set. Keep it simple. So rest up, squad status save, and we're ready when you go back. So if I click here, remember yesterday I mentioned that now I'm done. It says it made 82 changes. It cost 6 premium requests over the 48 minutes that it was up. 7.3 million tokens up, 71,000 down. Half of them were reasoning, it looks like. And if I want to resume this session, I can copy this text and do it for next time.
Or
Like I
just
said,
keep the terminal. Yeah, yeah. No, this is cool. This
yeah.
is actually very, very
So if we look, we still have 40, 40 items ready to commit. And this is everything that got us started with
yeah.
the squad. So I think we're at the point where the squad's established. We added a new person to it. We have all the rules. We're ready to start working. So in this case, I think we're ready to commit these changes. What do you think?
I'm good. Let's give these guys uh some guarantee that they're going to be around tomorrow with your machine. So yeah, so let's commit this and get this off your machine because we don't know what your machine's going to be like tomorrow, Joe.
Yeah, well, luckily all my sources on a different drive.
I
So
know. I know.
so here you see I used GitHub Copilot to come up with the name and it gave us everything. So I'm going to commit and push, and then it has no branch. So I'm going to say okay. Now, ooh, this is rough. Didn't we have our PR set up that you needed 2 people to review it or just one? I forget.
I think we just oh, we had two.
You
So
have to change that role now that we're not really having everyone else working
yeah,
on it. So I created the PR for it If we look at our GitHub repo, there should be a PR in a second or so that commits to squad, and it's marked as a big red X. Why is it marked as? Oh, Git Guardian. What is that? That's probably the triggered basic auth. Huh. Git Guardian ID triggered basic auth string templates. Let's stop sharing my screen for a second and see what that is.
Two secrets. Found two secrets. Bad squad team. They hard-coded secrets in the pull request.
I don't know if they did or not.
One is a basic two basic auth strings.
Yeah, but I don't
in skills.
actually see it.
Yeah, but those are in skills.
File name,
files.
Git auth isolation skill. So let's see.
I'm looking.
It could be in the template directory, which we don't really need. It's listed as a skill.
Yeah, it's saying it's in the GH auth isolation. So the GitHub authentication isolation skill. But
I look in there.
I'm looking in the commit.
It's actually not
it's probably it probably caught because this has a bunch of like instructions
yeah
and examples. So I bet you it caught some example of.
Well, the example is on line. If you look at the file, line 1, where was it? I just had it. Git skill. If you look at line 161, there's an example with the bogus key. That's probably what it's complaining about.
That's what it's probably complaining about, yeah. You're right. Hard coding tokens.
So I think it's safe to say we could ignore that one. We actually don't even need the templates directory.
Yeah. We probably don't.
Yeah, because it's just those templates. So I'm going to say skip false positive. And then should be ready for, it just needs one approver. So
yeah,
you can approve and merge, and then we'll be able to work on that, or you can even work on that now. We can have our own squad people doing things, so I can work on stuff with the squad as well as you at the same time now. Let's get that merge PR, and then tomorrow for our next episode, we will start assigning work out. We'll see if we can start working on some of those issues that were recommended. So we'll probably start off with 385, 386, 387, and 388. Well, maybe we'll make it to 390, but we'll take it slow and just start with at least 385 to make sure things work, show how we validate the application afterwards, or give it additional roles.
Okay. Well, we will see everyone tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye.